Hi guys, good evening. Good evening to everybody. So I am Ilangovan, Axie.com online teaching person for zoology. So last class we have started about the digestive system, and that too I started about the glands, the digestive glands. And under this one I talked about the salivary glands. I think so. Good evening. And there are three pairs of salivary glands in human beings. Based on the location, they are named differently. I mentioned about that one. So one of the glands, you know that one, the parotid salivary gland. Parotid. It is the largest salivary gland. And it is being normally connected to the buccal cavity through the duct, namely the parotid duct commonly. But it is normally known as the Stenson's duct. Stenson's duct. Then, here I represented one of the muscles. You know that one, this is a jaw muscle, the strongest muscle in the body. Masseter muscle, commonly the jaw muscle, the strongest muscle in the body. One of the questions also, you remember that one. I will remind you, one of the strongest muscle, not one of them. The strongest muscle in the body is nothing but the jaw muscle, what is called the masseter muscle. Then, another gland you have at the angle of the jaw, namely the submandibular gland. Submandibular. So this is submandibular, present at the angle of the jaw, from which arises the duct, namely just actually the duct, Wharton's duct. It is leaving from this gland, entering into the buccal cavity, Wharton's duct. And the third gland, what we have just present below the tongue. This is actually below the tongue. That is what the name is given, sublingual duct. Sublingual duct. And from which a number of ducts arise. And these ducts are collectively known as duct of Levinus or Bartholin's duct. They open into the buccal cavity, secreting the saliva that is being released in the buccal cavity for the digestion. So anyway, these are all the structures what I represented in the last class without a picture. Now I am representing a picture also. You can see the three types of ducts: Stenson's duct, Wharton's duct, and also duct of Levinus or Levinus. Duct of Levinus. And in the case of rabbit, there is another pair of glands present just below the eye orbit, what is called infraorbital glands. That is absent in the case of human beings. So rabbits have 4 pairs of salivary glands. We have only 3 pairs of salivary glands. The gland which is absent in human beings, nothing but the infraorbital glands located just below the eye orbit. So these are all the things what I just actually committed in the last class. And I also mentioned about the nature of the saliva, the fluid secreted by the salivary gland, which is normally hypertonic in nature. That is nothing but less concentrated in nature when compared to hypertonic. I also just has given the meaning for hypertonic and hypertonic solution in the last class. Someone asked a question. So the salivary secretion is mainly under reflex activity. It is an example for reflex action. Either on seeing the food or smelling the food, we can have the ability of secreting saliva independently, involuntarily. So that is why we can say the secretion of saliva is nothing but a reflex activity under the control of autonomous nervous system and independent nervous system. Now, generally speaking, what are the functions of such salivary secretion secreted by the salivary glands? They are concerned with ingestion, taking enough food, digestion, and something is present in the saliva which protects us from the entering microorganisms, particularly against bacteria. That is why it's called as antibacterial agent, what is called lysozyme. So it forms the first line of defense. While we are talking about immunology, under immunology there is one question, lysozyme. We have first line of defense, second line of defense, third line of defense. And now this lysozyme is coming under the first line of defense. They are normally digesting the cell wall of bacteria. So if the cell wall has been broken in the case of bacteria, the bacteria is unable to do the further activity. So it is being damaged or destroyed, has no ability of proceeding further activity if its cell wall has been digested. That is being done by this lysozyme. So normally it forms the first line of defense. And now in the saliva we have also a viscous substance, a glycoprotein, what is called mucin or mucus. A mucus is nothing but actually a viscous substance found in the saliva made up of mucin dissolved in water. It's a kind of glycoprotein. Mucin in saliva, a kind of glycoprotein that is concerned with the lubrication of food so that it can be swallowed easily. And also, saliva is responsible for speech. If your tongue is dry, if your mouth cavity is dry, it cannot have the ability of just producing a sound. It cannot be able to speak. So we have one of the functions of saliva helping in speech. So these are all some of the functions related to the glands. Now let's see furthermore about it. So one of the glands we have seen the digestive glands. Now let's proceed about the second gland, the largest gland in the body. That is nothing but the liver. So it is the largest gland. Its weight is equal to the weight of the brain. For example, it is given in the slide 1.5 to 1.5 kg. So you see in the case of the brain also we have it's more or less 1200 to 1400 grams. That is vary between male and females. So likewise in the case of adult human, the weight of the liver is about 1.2 to 1.5 kg. It is equal to the size of the brain. Where is it located? See, when you are having the stomach is located in the abdominal cavity towards the left side. Whereas the liver is located on the right side, just below the diaphragm, the abdominal cavity. That's the location. Don't imagine that stomach is in the middle or on the right side. So stomach you have on the left side in the abdominal cavity, whereas you have the liver on the right side below the diaphragm in the abdominal cavity. Now what are the units of liver? The liver is actually formed of small units, what we can see hepatic tubule or hepatic lobules. Just like seminiferous tubules of the testis, we have the liver's unit, nothing but hepatic lobules. So they are considered as a structural and functional units of liver. What are they made of? These hepatic lobules are actually formed of hepatic cells. The liver cells are called hepatic cells. They make up the hepatic lobules, which are the structural and functional units of the liver. And these hepatic cells are arranged in the form of long cords, that is in the form of filamentous structures. When I am using the word cords, nothing but a collection of cells which are branched or formed in the form of long filamentous structures. So the unit of liver is nothing but hepatic lobule, and each lobule is made up of many cells called hepatic cells. They are arranged in the form of long cords. Then there is one question related to the liver regarding actually one capsule. So that came in the question paper also in your entrance examination. So each lobule, the unit of liver, is surrounded by a fibrous connective tissue sheath. The name of the fibrous connective tissue sheath is Glissen's capsule. It is nothing but a thin connective tissue, a kind of sheath made up of connective tissue surrounding or enveloping or ensheathing each lobule of the liver. So Glissen's capsule. So where are Glissen capsules in our body? The Glissen's capsules are formed in the liver, ensheathing or enclosing or covering the hepatic lobules of liver. Don't forget this one, very important question also. Now, what is the name of the fluid secreted by the liver? The liver secretes an alkaline fluid, normally yellowish brown in color or reddish brown in color. Sometimes it is given like that. The name of the fluid secreted by liver is called the bile. So it is secreted by the hepatic cells, from where it is being collected by the hepatic ducts, and from the hepatic ducts the bile is normally just conveyed to the gallbladder, where it is being stored and concentrated before it is being released through the bile duct to reach the duodenum for its activity for digestion. So the bile, the fluid, alkaline in nature, secreted by the hepatic cells, carried by the hepatic ducts to the gallbladder, where it is being stored and concentrated before it is being discharged into the bile duct to be conveyed to the duodenum for its activity. So, we have two ducts arising from the liver, one from the gallbladder, another one from the liver. The duct arising from the gallbladder is called a cystic duct, The duct arising from the gallbladder is called cystic duct. The duct arising from the liver cells, that is the hepatic tubules, is called hepatic duct. Now the cystic duct and the hepatic duct join together to form the bile duct. So a bile duct is actually formed by the union of a cystic duct and a number of hepatic ducts coming from the liver. Now the bile duct is actually proceeding towards the duodenum, and before it actually enters into the duodenum, it combines or joins with the duct from the pancreas, what is called the pancreatic duct, so as to form a common hepatopancreatic duct. So the duct from the liver, namely the bile duct, the duct from the pancreas, namely the pancreatic duct, they never open separately and independently into the duodenum. They join together to form a common duct, what is called hepatopancreatic duct. This hepatopancreatic duct only just leaves and opens into the duodenum. And before opening into the duodenum, suppose you have the U-shaped structure, you know that one. If it is a duodenum, so now we have the pancreas, the duct is coming from that one. We have the liver duct, namely the bile duct, they are joined together. And before opening into the duodenum, it becomes swollen. The hepatopancreatic duct becomes swollen. And that swollen part is called ampulla of Vater. Ampulla of Vater. Ampulla of Vater. So, the hepatic duct, namely the bile duct, and the pancreatic duct join together to form the hepatopancreatic duct. The hepatopancreatic duct opens into the duodenum. Before opening, it swells to form a structure what is called ampulla of Vater, after the name of the person. Now, the opening of this hepatopancreatic duct into the duodenum is guarded by a sphincter muscle. You know the meaning of sphincter muscle? Nothing but a muscle which regulates the passage of materials from one organ to another organ or from the organ to the exterior. For example, we have the pyloric sphincter muscle found at the junction of the stomach as well as the duodenum, or the anal sphincter muscles formed at the anal region for the passage of waste to the exterior. So a special type of muscles normally found at the openings or surrounding the openings. We'll be studying later under the muscles surrounding the openings. We have later also in the pyloric region as well as the anal region or at the junction of the esophagus and stomach. So we have in various places we have the sphincter muscles. So a group of sphincter muscles normally found at the opening of the hepatopancreatic duct, which will regulate the flow pipe into the duodenum. Now, what is the name of that opening? So that is actually called, not the opening, the sphincter muscle, sphincter of Oddi, after the name of the person, sphincter of Oddi. A special type of sphincter muscle formed at the opening of the hepatopancreatic duct before it opens in the duodenum to regulate the flow, the bile into the duodenum. That is called duct of Oddi. Sphincter of Oddi. I'll show that one. So the bile duct and the pancreatic open together, what I mentioned here, into the duodenum as a common hepatopancreatic duct. I mentioned that one. And that swells to form ampulla of Vater, the name of the person. Then the opening is guarded by sphincter of Oddi. This is the question. What is the name of the sphincter formed at the opening of the hepatopancreatic duct? That's a question came also in the question paper. So we have sphincter of Oddi, a special type of sphincter formed at the opening of hepatopancreatic duct to regulate the flow of pancreatic juice and the bile coming from the liver. Now, what are the functions of liver? So there is a nickname for liver also. It is a factory of the body. A person cannot survive without a liver because liver is very important for the digestion of fats, without which we cannot digest the fatty substances what we are taking in during the nutrition process. So what are the functions of liver? So I mentioned already it is a factory of the body, the largest organ in the body, the largest gland in the body, the largest exocrine gland in the body, equal to the size of the brain. It's concerned with actually maintaining the equilibrium of the body. That is what we call this one homeostasis, the process of maintaining the equilibrium of the body. So what do you mean by equilibrium? What do you mean by homeostasis? Maintaining the normal concentration of solutes, including the salts, then the various organic substances in the blood. So all being under normal conditions. For example, if you're taking the cholesterol level or the sugar level, etc., all being maintained under normal conditions. That phenomenon of maintaining equilibrium is called homeostasis. As it is excreting the waste products, as it is maintaining, for example, the level of different substances in the blood, it is considered as an organ of homeostasis for maintaining the equilibrium. Now, there is another question. There is one peculiar type of cells formed in the liver, and that is called Kupffer cells. That is also a very important question. Many times in the question paper, the Kupffer cells. I am using the word MNP. So that is nothing but mononuclear phagocytes. Mononuclear phagocytes. Unlike, for example, the neutrophils. So if you are taking the WBCs, we have, for example, polymorphonuclear neutrophils, one type. So they have actually different shaped nuclei. Polymorphonuclear neutrophils have it. So there is one type of cell, what is called the Kupffer cells, very important question also, just regarding the end space. And that is nothing but mononuclear phagocytic cells, just like WBCs, phagocytic cells. There you have polymorphonuclear phagocytic cells. Likewise, this is mononuclear phagocytic cells without any modifications, without any polymorphism. And these cells are responsible for swallowing the dead cells, the repaired cells, or the damaged cells, along with the breakdown of old RBCs. That is effete cells. The old cells are called effete cells. The old RBCs are called the effete cells, and they are carried to the liver. So there are two places the old cells of the RBC or the damaged cells of RBCs are being destroyed. One is spleen, considered as a graveyard for RBCs. Another one, the liver, where they are being damaged, they are engulfed, they are removed from the body by means of these Kupffer cells. Kupffer cells are phagocytic cells found in the liver. They are concerned with the breakdown of old RBCs, normally called as effete cells. Then, the second one, neutralization. See, the stomach food is acidic in nature. When it enters into the duodenum, it is acidic because of the hydrochloric acid secreted by the stomach. It is thoroughly mixed with the food. When the food reaches the intestine, it is acidic in nature. It is to be neutralized. Because the way these enzymes, the pancreas, the intestinal juice, they work well in alkaline pH of more or less 7 to 8 or 7.8, we can say. Alkaline pH. So further, the medium in the duodenum has been converted to alkaline. And that is brought about by liver, and that phenomenon is called neutralization because it contains sodium bicarbonate. The bicarbonate is used to neutralize the acidity of the food that is coming from the stomach. Then emulsification. We are consuming large food particles. What is emulsification? You know the meaning of a colloid. A colloid is nothing but a suspension of one substance into another, having the properties of both solid and solvent. For example, if you take sauce, it is a colloid. If you take oil and water, it is a colloid. If you take paint, it is an example for emulsion. So another colloid, we have two types. One is called emulsoid, another one emulsion. So in each colloid or solution, we have two phases. You know that one. One is called the dispersal phase, another one the dispersal medium. Simply we can say solute and solvent. Solute, the dispersal phase, and solvent, the dispersal medium. Now, another colloid, we have two types. One is called emulsoid. For example, sugar solution, sugar in water. So, in the case of emulsoid, the solute and solvent thoroughly mix with one another. The solute is completely dissolved in a solvent. But in the case of emulsion, for example, oil in water, it is an example for emulsion. The dispersal phase and the dispersal medium do not mix with one another. So, the formation of emulsion is called emulsification. We are taking large molecules of fat. We have in the body, the digestive tract, there are enzymes for digesting or breaking the fats, what are called the lipases. The lipase enzymes cannot break large molecules of fats, so that the fats what we are consuming should be broken into oil droplets, so that they can float on the surface of water in the duodenum, and so that the enzyme lipase can act on them easily. That process of breakdown of fats into, that is what is called the fat globules. To begin with, we have fat droplets and fat globules, and that phenomenon is called emulsification, just like formation of soap. Then urea biosynthesis. Liver is the place where you have the waste product urea is formed from carbon dioxide and then ammonia. Don't forget about this one. The liver is the main place where you have the formation of urea by means of one cycle. We will study later, ornithine cycle. The name of the cycle is called ornithine cycle. So we have urea biosynthesis, the formation of waste product in our body. The main waste product urea is formed from carbon dioxide, water, ammonia in the liver. It is a place of biosynthesis of urea. Then, what are the other functions? Now, in adult, the liver is concerned with the breakdown of RBC, so we can consider it is a graveyard. But during embryonic development, the function is reversed. The function is normally in reverse condition. So in adult, it is concerned with the breakdown. But in the case of embryonic condition, it is concerned with the formation of blood cells, particularly formation of RBC. So, that process of formation of RBCs is called erythropoiesis or erythropoiesis. The formation of red blood corpuscles is called erythropoiesis. That is being normally done mainly with the liver, only in the embryonic period. But in adult period, the function is reversed. So, it can destroy only the RBCs, the worn-out RBCs, the damaged RBCs, or the whole RBCs, what we can say, they get weak cells not having the ability of transporting oxygen. So, that is about erythropoiesis, formation of RBCs. Then, people are consuming alcohol. They are consuming the drugs, even antibiotics. So, all being normally broken. Or when we are just taking some poison in the form of toxin. All being broken, all being degraded, one in the liver, no other organs. That is why it is considered as a primary site of detoxification. Either the drug, what we are consuming, or the alcohol. So alcohol being degraded only in the liver. That is why in the case of drunkard persons, the first organ which is to be affected is nothing but the liver, leading to the formation of a syndrome, what we call this one fatty liver syndrome. In the case of fatty liver syndrome, that is very common in the case of drunkards, where you have the blood vessels of the liver are just replaced by fibrous tissues. So it is not only concerned with the formation of urea, not only concerned with the digestion of fat, another important function, detoxification, without which there is no breakdown of any drugs what we are taking inside. Then, it is also the maximum storage of iron. Also, we have glycogen. So, doctors are advising to take more. For example, this liver from the animals, particularly just from meat or from the sheep or goat. The reason for that, the iron being stored here, because the hemoglobin or the RBC being broken here, so large amount of iron being stored along with the glycogen. Also, another function. And of the organs found in the body, unlike other organs, for example, the brain or the heart, the only organ which has the maximum power of regeneration. So it is subjected to, for example, friction is subjected to various actual demands, what we are exposing that liver to, different demands. In such cases also, even small cells, a number of cells, a few cells damage the liver has the ability of regenerating its own structure up to certain limit. So they have maximum power of regeneration when compared to other organs in the body. So these are all some of the functions related to, that is the liver. We have its role later in digestion. What are they doing? Now other gland, pancreas. So where is it located? So if we are taking small intestine, we have the first part, the U-shaped part, what we call this one, the duodenum. In the loop of the duodenum, we have a common structure, more or less an elongated organ, leafy-like structure, a compound structure. I'm using the word because it functions as both exocrine and endocrine. Know the meaning of exocrine and endocrine functions? Exocrine glands have the ducts for releasing their secretions. Endocrine glands do not have the ducts to release their secretions. So the only organ doing the function of both exocrine and endocrine in our body is nothing but the pancreas. So that is why I mentioned it is a compound organ because function has both exocrine and endocrine and normally situated between the lobes of the duodenum, the U-shaped part, where only you have that one. That is arising, joins with the bile duct to form the hepatopancreatic duct and then opens into the duodenum. Now, normally the exocrine portion, what we call this one, that is actually the follicles or acidic, we can say. And they secrete the pancreatic juice which contain different enzymes. So the pancreatic juice is normally considered as a complete juice. The meaning for that one, it is the only juice having different enzymes. And all the enzymes have the property of digesting whatever we are taking in the form of carbohydrates, proteins, fats, etc. The only juice having all the enzymes for the breakdown of different types of food materials. Hence, pancreatic juice is called as a complete juice. So we have normally the exocrine portion secretes mainly the alkaline pancreatic juice. Don't forget it is alkaline. Except the stomach, gastric juice, all others are alkaline. Then the endocrine portion secretes two hormones, you know very well about it, the insulin and glucagon. So that's why it's considered as a compound endocrine. It's a compound structure, a compound gland, functioning both exocrine and endocrine. Now this is a picture showing, a simple picture showing the different glands localized in and around the stomach and duodenum. Now you have liver somewhere here. So it is formed of right and left lobes. You know that one. It's being formed of two lobes, right and left lobes. Unlike the rabbit, there it is being formed of four lobes. Now this is the gallbladder, the green structure where you have the bile being stored, and we have the hepatic ducts. What we call one ducts from the liver, the different lobes, the lobules, and this is the duct from the gallbladder, what is called the cystic duct, and both join together to form a common duct, what is called the common bile duct. Now this bile duct joins with the pancreatic duct here and enlarges to form ampulla of Vater and opens into the duodenum where it is guarded by the sphincter of Bode. So this is what we have, the different glands localized in and around the duodenum. Liver on the right side, we have the pancreas more or less on the left side, just below the level of the stomach. Now, so we have seen so far those glands which are seen or which are visible, largest glands like the salivary glands, the liver and pancreas. They are found outside the digestive tract and outside the alimentary canal. There are certain glands which are found in the wall of the stomach on its inner side and also in the wall of the intestine on its inner side. And let's see these glands. Those glands present on the inner wall of the stomach in the form of pits. We have, suppose you are taking the stomach. The stomach is normally inverted folded to form gastric rugae, having a number of pits. They are considered as the gastric pits or gastric glands. Gastric pits. The gastric pits contain a number of glands called as the gastric glands. So if you are taking the alimentary canal wall, we have four layers. The innermost layer is called mucosa, and that mucosal layer is produced into many glands, either in the intestine or in the stomach. If they are formed in the stomach, they are called the gastric glands, and those formed in the wall of the intestine on its inner side in the mucosal layer are called as the intestinal glands. Now I'll take first one, the gastric glands. So if you are taking the stomach, I mentioned already, the stomach has different components. The stomach has different components, and these are all the regions of the stomach. So we have, for example, this region cardiac stomach, and we have the fundic stomach. This is the main body. This one is called the pyloric stomach. So according to the location, we have the cardiac glands, the fundic glands, and pyloric glands. The names are given based on the location. So the stomach being divided into many parts like cardiac stomach, funded stomach and pyloric stomach. Those glands on the inner wall of the cardiac stomach are called cardiac glands. Similarly, funded glands and also the pyloric glands. Now, what are the gastric glands? So there are three types of gastric glands based on the location. One found in the cardiac region of the stomach, another one found in the pyloric region, hence called pyloric glands, and the last one, funded glands, found in the funded stomach. So the glands localized in the cardiac and pyloric glands. They are concerned with the secretion of mucus, a viscous substance mainly for protecting the inner wall of the stomach from excoriation by the action of the hydrochloric acid, from erosion of the stomach by the action of hydrochloric acid. And those cells which secrete mucus are commonly known as the goblet cells, wherever they are present anywhere else, either in the stomach or in the wall of the intestine. Those cells secreting mucus are commonly known as the goblet cells. This is another question came in the question paper. So mucus secreting cells are goblet cells. Whether they are present in the wall of the intestine or in the wall of the stomach, simply they are called as the goblet cells. Their main function is concerned with the secretion of mucus, a viscous substance. We will see the function later. So both the cardiac glands and pyloric glands secrete only mucus. But the most important glands we have in the funded region. Altogether, generally we have four different types of cells formed in the funded glands. One, the chief cells. They are also called zymogen cells. So any cell which secretes a precursor of enzymes is called zymogen cells. So the precursor of enzyme is called zymogen. The precursor of enzyme is called zymogen. So the enzyme is secreted by the zymogen granules found in the cytoplasm of such secreting cells. So the cells concerned with the secretion of enzymes are called the chief cells or zymogen cells, also called peptic cells, as they secrete mainly pepsin enzyme. So three names for that one: chief cells, zymogen cells, peptic cells, or same. Their main function is concerned with the secretion of enzyme. The second type, parietal or oxalic cells, another important question. Parietal or oxalic cells. And these cells are concerned with the secretion of two main substances or secretions. One, hydrochloric acid. Another one, Casel's extrinsic factor. Sometimes it's also given Casel's intrinsic factor. And there are two questions here. What is the role of hydrochloric acid? Or name the cells of the stomach which secrete hydrochloric acid. It is none other than just the oxalic cells. It is the one responsible for the secretion of hydrochloric acid. It's also called parietal cells. Another oxalic cells secrete hydrochloric acid. Because we need acidic medium in the stomach that is being provided by hydrochloric acid. Then only the enzyme pepsin is working. So to maintain the acidity of the stomach, to maintain acidic medium for enzyme to act, we need barely hydrochloric acid. So it is normally well developed in the case of adult, but the oxalic cells are poorly developed in the case of young ones or infants. So in the case of infants, the hydrochloric acid secretion is not there because the cells of the stomach are very delicate in nature. They cannot tolerate such a high acidic pH. That is why the oxalic cells are not developed in the case of infants. So I mentioned here there are two components. One is hydrochloric acid. I mentioned some of the functions of hydrochloric acid. We'll see further later. Another factor, what I mentioned, extrinsic factor. What is its role? Another question. So this substance is concerned with the absorption of vitamin B12, namely cyanocobalamin, a complex member of B. It is a B complex vitamin B12, and it is to be absorbed, and that absorption is made with the help of Casel's factor. Casel's factor helps in the absorption of vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin. Then the third type of cells, again the goblet cells, what I mentioned earlier. Any cell which secretes mucus is called as a goblet cell. Here it is also called as a neck cell. Another type of cells found in the funded region. Then argentophil cells. These are all endocrine cells concerned with the secretion of some hormone. hormones. For example, gastrin in the stomach, secreting in the duodenum or in the intestine. So organ cells normally found both in the stomach as well as in the intestine concerned with the secretion of hormones. So these are some of the cells found actually in the gastric glands concerned with the secretion of either hormones or mucus or enzymes. Either hormones or mucus or enzymes. Now the fourth type of glands, invisible glands. So we have liver, pancreas, salivary glands. The fourth one, this is the fifth one. The fourth one we have mainly the gastric glands, now the intestinal glands. And here there are two types of intestinal glands, and both are being actually asked in the question paper. So far asked many times in the question paper. So there are two types. One is crypts of liver pool. It is being secreted by the mucosa, the innermost layer of ileum. That's the question. Where is it secreted by who? Simply nothing but the intestinal glands concerned with the secretion of enzyme. Therefore, I show the picture normally. See in the case of villi, what is shown already. The villi region, if you go back to that region, you can see the crypts of liver pool. The outer wall, the epithelial cells being dipped into the loose connective tissue of the small intestine and develops the crypts of liver pool. The intestinal glands, normally in the ileum region, particularly by the mucosal layer, concerned with the secretion of enzyme, concerned with the secretion of one juice, what is called the intestinal juice, technically called as succus entericus. The juice secreted by the crypts of liver pool is called as intestinal juice or succus entericus. Then Brunner's glands. This is a question came many times. Where are these glands located? The location they ask many times. So they are found in the submucous of duodenum. They are found in the submucous of duodenum. Consider the secretion of mucus, just like the goblet cells. So the secretions of Brunner's glands and the secretions of crypts of liver pool together form the intestinal juice. Though I am using the word under the crypts of liver pool only. Totally it is called intestinal juice, formed of the secretions of liver pool and the secretions of Brunner's glands. It's mainly concerned with the secretion of mucus found in the submucous of duodenum. Submucous of duodenum. We'll go further about the crypts of liver pool. So these are all nothing but the intestinal glands, one part of intestinal glands, one type of intestinal glands together. It's again formed of two types of cells. One is called the Paneth cells or zymogen. I mentioned already. If you have any word zymogen, that always refers to the enzyme secretion. So the Paneth cells are concerned with the secreting enzymes. That's what they're called the zymogen cells. Then another type of cell, argentophilic cells. I mentioned already we have this type of cell also in the stomach. There it is concerned with the secretion of hormone. And here it is concerned with the secretion of one hormone by name secretin, the one which stimulates the pancreatic juice secretion, secretin. And also it stimulates the secretion of another factor. We can call this one that is a messenger molecule or chemical alarm signal, namely serotonin, normally released at times of allergic reactions. Also it is being released along with the histamine. And this serotonin is responsible for the peristaltic movement of the alimentive canal, for just pushing the food from the stomach towards anus during the course of digestion absorption. What is happening, order happening in the intestine, that is because of the movement, the wave-like motion of the gut. The wave-like motion of the gut is called the peristaltic motion. That is brought about by serotonin, a kind of hormone, not only secreted with the organ cells, some also by some other cells, taking part in what is called allergic reactions or during inflammatory reactions. So anyway, here it is concerned with the movement of the gut, the peristaltic movement of the gut for pushing the food from the stomach towards the end, namely the rectum, and after that the anus. Now, what is happening? The chemical as well as the mechanical digestion. So we are taking complex food materials, they are being broken into simpler substances both by mechanical and chemical action or both by mechanical and chemical digestion. What do you mean by digestion? So normally you know that one, the mechanism of digestion involves the breakdown of bond between, that is, a complex materials. For example, in the case of carbohydrates, between the complex sugars, we have a linkage called glycosidic linkage. In the case of proteins, the unit what we have the amino acids. Between the amino acids, we have what is called the bond, the peptide bond. And similarly, if you are taking the fats, they are being formed of fatty acids and glycerol. Then the bond between the fatty acids and glycerol is called ester bond or ester linkage. So the mechanism of digestion is nothing but breaking down of all these bonds between the molecules. So for that we need the addition of water. So the main action of enzyme is nothing but adding a molecule of water at the point of bond which is to be broken or which is to be cleaved. So that is why the digestion is also called hydrolysis. The another name for digestion, hydrolysis. So lysis means to break, adding a molecule of water at the point which is to be broken. So that is why the phenomenon is called hydrolysis. Hydrolysis or hydrolysis. So there is a main mechanism lying behind the process of digestion. And that is being done by the enzyme. So that is why we are using the word hydrolytic action of enzymes responsible for the breakdown of food materials. So the process of digestion is normally accomplished by, you know that one, two events. One by mechanical, another one chemical process. The mechanical process being initiated mainly in just the buccal cavity while we are grinding the food or crushing the food, what we call this one mastication. So during digestion process, what will happen? The insoluble complex materials are broken into simple soluble substances with the help of biocatalysts, what we call this one the enzymes. So this is a simple process. Insoluble complex into simple soluble molecules that are smaller in nature that can be absorbed easily. Now, we have the digestive process takes place in different parts of the alimentary canal, either in the buccal cavity or in the stomach or in the small intestine. There is no digestive activity either in the esophagus or in the large intestine. There is no breakdown process. There is no hydrolytic action in these two classes. So one that is esophagus, another one large intestine. These two places are actually concerned with some other activity. There is no digestive activity either in esophagus region or in the large intestine. They are concerned with some functions. For example, esophagus is concerned with actually the transport or conduction of food materials from the buccal cavity to the stomach. Large intestine is concerned with the absorption of water, absorption of certain minerals, absorption of certain drugs, but there is no breakdown process takes place in the large intestine. Now let's take first one, digestion in the oral cavity or in the mouth or in the buccal cavity. So the buccal cavity is normally concerned with two functions. One, mastication of food, the grinding, the breakdown of large pieces of food into smaller particles. And also it facilitates the swallowing. These are the two main events. One, the mastication of food and also the swallowing process. It makes the food to be swallowed. That is happening in the buccal cavity. Now let's start with what is happening in the buccal cavity. So I mentioned the first one, nothing with the mechanical digestion. So what is happening in this process of mechanical digestion in the mouth cavity? So normally two structures, one teeth, another one tongue, with the help of secretion of salivary glands named saliva. So because of the teeth and the tongue, with the help of saliva, what will happen? Mastication happens so that the food is mixed up thoroughly with the saliva. This is one. Crushing of food material, crushing of food particles, and that is what's called the mastication process. Now what will happen? The food particles, once they are being crushed, they stick together to form a mass. This is the binding or adhering of the food particles affected by the mucin of saliva, a glycoprotein, and that food particle to form a mass, a spherical mass, is called bolus. So the mucus, what I mentioned actually, this is a viscous substance containing mucin, a substance, a viscid substance, This mucin is formed of glycoprotein. Chemically, it is a glycoprotein. When dissolved in water, it becomes viscous. So, what is the role of mucus normally formed in the saliva? It helps in lubrication of food particles and making the food particles adhere together to form a spherical mass, and that is called bolus that can be swallowed easily. So the bolus being pushed into the pharynx, from where it is being pushed through the esophagus to reach the stomach, and that act of swallowing is because of the lubricated activity of that is saliva, that is particularly the mucus, the one which contains mucin, a glycoprotein. So I mentioned earlier, the bolus is conveyed into the pharynx, normally called as a throat, where we have just actually the two tubes normally communicate with one another, the place of just meeting up esophagus and trachea. Now, from where it is pushed into the esophagus by swallowing. The act of swallowing is also called deglutition. The act of swallowing is also called deglutition. It is a complex reflex activity. The center for swallowing is located in medulla. This is another question. Medulla is concerned with, know that one, a number of the medulla of the brain contains a center for swallowing. The center for swallowing is located mainly in the medulla oblongata, along with the respiratory center. You have, for example, what is otherwise called the breathing center, the cough, that is sneezing, vomiting, all being controlled with the medulla oblongata. Don't forget the center for swallowing is located in medulla. Swallowing is a complex reflex activity. Many events are taking place. The act of swallowing is called deglutition. Sometimes a person is unable to swallow food because of certain reasons. That condition is called dysphagia. Dysphagia. That condition is called dysphagia. Unable to swallow either water or either food. So because of so many reasons, for example, when you are frightened, choking occurs. You are unable to swallow the food, either the liquid food or salt. So anyway, swallowing a complex reflex activity. The center for swallowing is called medulla in the brain. You know that one medulla is localized in the hindbrain region. And the act of swallowing is called deglutition. The person is unable to swallow, that condition is called dysphagia. Then, now the bolus passes through the esophagus. How? By wave-like muscular contractions. A series of wave-like muscular contractions taking place successively in the wall of the esophagus because its wall being made up of smooth muscle. And that successive waves of muscle contractions that push the food from the buccal cavity or pharynx to the stomach is called peristalsis. Successive waves of muscle contractions. So we have the spherical mass which is being normally. So when you are taking the esophagus, we have alternate constriction and also the expansion of the food tube, what we call this one the esophagus. So we have a wave-like contraction, successive wave of contractions, relaxation, contractions, relaxation, contractions, so that only the food being pushed towards the stomach. So because of peristaltic wave only, a person can eat or drink any solutions even when he is in upside down conditions. So if there is no peristalsis, then you cannot eat, you cannot drink once your body is upside down. A person can eat or can drink even when his body is upside down, inverted position. This is because of what is called the peristaltic waves that occur in the wall of the esophagus. So such a successive wave of muscle contractions to push the food down towards the stomach together called as peristalsis. So that is what is happening. So swallowing, the deglutition process, and then we have the peristalsis happening in that one. Now at the junction of the esophagus and the stomach, here there is a sphincter. The name of the sphincter normally found here is called just a gastric esophageal sphincter or gastroesophageal sphincter. It is also called as cardiac sphincter. Gastroesophageal sphincter. As the esophagus enters first into the cardiac stomach, the sphincter is also called cardiac sphincter. and it is the one which regulates the flow of food from the esophagus into the stomach. That is the name of the sphincter, regulating. So wherever you have the sphincter is always concerned with the regulation of the substances and the passage of substances from one organ to another or from the organ to the exterior. For example, from the body to outside through anus, or here from the esophagus one organ to the stomach, or from the stomach here also another sphincter is formed. Here you have the name of the stomach region is called pyloric. That is why the sphincter formed at the junction of the pyloric stomach and the duodenum is called pyloric sphincter. Pyloric sphincter. So accordingly, it's related about the function of that one. So the mechanical digestion is brought about by mainly the tongue, teeth along with the saliva. That is nothing but the mastication process. Otherwise called simply crushing of food particles into smaller particles. That is called the mechanical breakdown. Now chemical digestion. So the chemical digestion is also initiated in the buccal cavity. I mentioned already we have the digestive process. One in the buccal cavity, stomach and small intestine. There is no digestive activity either in. So either in, and just for example, either in the intestine or in the esophagus. I'll continue just. So it's not breaking. So okay, I'll continue. Just we can hear it nicely. So we have the gastroesophageal sphincter that controls the passage of food into the stomach. Controls the passage of food into the stomach. Now it is followed, the mechanical digestion is followed by the chemical digestion. And under this one, it is being brought about by some chemicals, maybe the enzymes secreted by different parts of the alimentary canal. First, let us take the first chemical or actually a secretion released by the salivary glands by being saliva. What is the role of saliva? What is the chemical composition of saliva? So it contains mainly electrolytes. I mentioned already it is a hypertonic solution more or less having a pH of 6.8. Having a pH of 6.8. So it contains electrolytes like sodium ions, potassium ions, chloride and also bicarbonates, which make the saliva alkaline. So the alkalinity is because of sodium bicarbonate that makes the saliva with a pH of more or less 6.8, nearing alkaline pH. And another one in the saliva we have an enzyme, salivary amylase, and that is actually it's working in a pH of 6.8 around some also. So that is why the saliva is alkaline, because the enzyme salivary amylase concerned with the breakdown of starch is working in an alkaline pH. Okay. Now another substance what I mentioned earlier, the lysozyme. The lysozyme is nothing but an antibacterial agent. It is not directly concerned with. It is not directly concerned with what is called actually the breakdown process, but it is concerned with killing the microorganisms, particularly bacteria that enter into the body, and that is the main function performed by the lysozyme. That is why it's called as antibacterial agent. Now, what is the chemical process of digestion brought about by the saliva? So the chemical process of digestion, or simply the chemical digestion, is initiated only in the buccal cavity, while the salivary amylase and enzyme, a carbohydrate splitting enzyme, is acting on starch. So it causes that actually the hydrolysis of carbohydrate, particularly starch. So the chemical process of digestion is initiated in the buccal cavity by the hydrolytic action. I mentioned already hydrolysis is nothing but a process of digestion, other name for digestion, because the mechanism lying behind is nothing but hydrolytic action of enzymes. We are adding a molecule of water and breaking the complex materials. So anyway, here the hydrolytic action of carbohydrate normally initiated in the buccal cavity with the help of enzyme salivary amylase. So it is concerned with the splitting of starch. So it is normally working on that is mainly cooked starch. It can digest only cooked starch. So the salivary amylase is working on cooked starch rather than that is the raw starch. Nearly 30% of the starch out of what we take is being hydrolyzed in the buccal cavity by the action of salivary amylase. So what is happening? The complex sugar, the polysaccharide, namely starch is actually being broken into a disaccharide, what is called maltose. So anyway, what is happening? We are taking enough complex sugar in the form of starch mostly, that is found in the vegetables and also in rice, and that is being broken into a disaccharide by salivary amylase at a pH of 6.8. There is a role of a salivary amylase. Only one enzyme found in the saliva that is concerned with the hydrolytic splitting of carbohydrates. Then the lysozyme. So it is an antibacterial agent, what I mentioned, killing the bacteria that enters along with food particles. It contains large amount of. So in the saliva we have one type of antibody, as in the case of the first formed milk, colostrum, after parturition in the case of pregnant women, and that is IgA. So the type of antibody found in saliva, IgA. The same type of antibody is also found in the colostrum. It's later during pregnancy, as soon as a child has been delivered after parturition. Mother is feeding the young one. The first formed milk is called colostrum, which also contains IgA antibodies. So this is with reference to actually what is happening in the buccal cavity, the churning process. The churning process or the crushing process with the help of teeth, that is otherwise called the mastication. So both mechanical as well as chemical digestion take place in that is in the buccal cavity. One with the help of teeth and then tongue, another one with the help of salivary secretion, particularly the enzyme. Now the second one, so now the food is in the stomach. What is happening with the food in the stomach? What is happening with the food in the stomach? So digestion in the stomach. So after eating, the food remains in the stomach for about nearly 4 to 5 hours. So the size of the stomach varies depending on the volume of food it contains. Normally a stomach can hold 1 to 1.5 liters of food. So the stomach volume, the total capacity of stomach is about 1 to 1.5 liters. But it is different from the vital capacity. So if you have just a total capacity of 1 to 1.5 liters, we cannot take as such, just like the grinder, the total volume just 1 to 1.5. Like that, suppose 1.5 liter of grinder, it cannot grind just 1.5 liter. That is the total capacity. Likewise, in the case of stomach, the total capacity is about 1 to 1.5 liters, but we cannot take 1.5 liters of rice because the vital capacity is different from the total capacity. So the stomach stores normally food for about 4 to 5 hours. Now what is happening in the stomach? So there is a churning movement of the muscles of the stomach, and that is responsible for mixing the food thoroughly with the gastric juice, which is acidic in nature. As a result of what is called, as a result of actually the breaking, what will happen in the stomach because of the churning movements of the muscles? Now the gastric juice is thoroughly mixed with the food. Now we are getting a porridge-like food after partial digestion in the stomach, and that is called the chyme. The partial digestion in the stomach results in the formation of a porridge-like substance, a semi-solid food. That semi-solid food is called as a chyme. A semi-solid food is called as a chyme. So we have formed actually in the stomach only partial digestion. After partial digestion, we have received only a semi-solid food. The digestion is not yet completed fully. We have just some of the digestion is completed. And you have a semi-solid food form that is called chyme. That is because of the churning movements of the muscles of the stomach. And so that the food is normally mixed thoroughly with the acidic gastric juice because of the presence of hydrochloric acid. It is acidic in nature. Okay. So anyway, so we have received a kind of food, somehow a porridge-like food, which is formed in the stomach, and that is called as a kind. So anyway, just this is the introductory part. So in the stomach, we have the food is there for nearly about just 4 to 5 hours. Then the food is being broken into smaller particles by the churning movement of that is a muscular walls, leading to the formation of a semi-solid food, what is called kind. So with that, just as the time just actually reaching and just concluding the part, we will proceed further about what is happening in the stomach in the next hour. Till then, just goodbye. So you are supposed to ask any questions. Any questions you may ask. So what is homeostasis? Maintenance of equilibrium in the body. What is the meaning for that one? We need normal concentration of, for example, take an example of glucose. What is a normal glucose level? It is about 70 to 100 milligrams per 100. This is the normal condition. Similarly, if you are taking the cholesterol, if you are taking other components, the electrolytes, the salt, the body fluid, the volume of blood, say an example of 5 liters, this is a normal. The normal blood pressure 120 or 80. So all these conditions are maintained under normal conditions, and that optimum level is being maintained at equilibrium by various coordinating systems, and that is called homeostasis, maintenance of equilibrium in the body. Okay, we will conclude. We will proceed further in the next class. Thank you.